Listen up, because this might be the most important thing you hear all day. You ever hit rock bottom? I mean, really hit it? That moment when everything's falling apart and you're convinced, this is it, game over. Well, what if I told you that exact moment? That's when magic happens. Stick with me, because this could save your life. Think about it. Thomas Edison, his lab burned to the ground. Everything he worked for, gone. Poof. And you know what he said? Thank God all our mistakes are destroyed. Now we can start fresh. A year later, he invented the phonograph. The greatest comeback in history started with total disaster. Here's the truth nobody tells you. The night is always darkest right before the dawn. But most people, they quit at 3 a.m. They never see the sunrise. And that's the difference between the people who make it and the ones who wonder, what if? Ever heard of J.K. Rowling? Single mom, depressed. So broke she wrote Harry Potter in cafes because she couldn't afford heat. 12 publishers rejected her, 12. But the 13th, that's the one that changed everything. If she'd quit at rejection number 5 or 10 or 12, no Hogwarts, no magic, no billion-dollar empire. She had to hit rock bottom to bounce back to the top. This isn't just motivation. This is science. When you're pushed to the edge, your brain rewires itself. Survival mode kicks in, creativity explodes. You find strength you didn't know you had. But, and here's the key, only if you keep going. So if you're in that dark place right now, good. That means your breakthrough is right around the corner, but you got to do one thing, keep moving, even if it's an inch, even if you don't see the light yet, because dawn always comes. Always. Now, here's your test. Comment down below if you've ever been knocked down and came back stronger. Let's see how many warriors are watching. And if this hit home, smash that like button, because the algorithm's brutal and I need you to help me spread this message. Oh, and subscribe, because next week, we're diving into exactly how to turn your lowest moments into unstoppable fuel. You in? Remember, the darkest night produces the brightest stars. Now go shine. You ever feel like the universe is testing you? Like every door slams shut, every plan falls apart, and just when you think it can't get worse, boom, life hits you with another curveball? Here's what nobody tells you in those moments. That crushing pressure, that's exactly what creates diamonds. Let me tell you about a guy named Colonel Sanders. At 65 years old, this man was broke, like living on his Social Security check, broke. His tiny chicken recipe rejected over 1,000 times. 1,000. Most people would have quit at rejection number 10, but that 1,009th no, that's the one that changed to a yes and birthed KFC, a empire worth billions today. Think about that next time you want to throw in the towel. Here's the raw truth. Your darkest moments aren't signs to quit. They're signals that you're being prepared for something greater. When Steve Jobs got fired from Apple, the company he created, he said it was the best thing that ever happened to him. Why? Because getting fired forced him to start Pixar and Next, which ultimately led to his triumphant return in Apple's greatest innovations. The pain, the struggle, that was the tuition he paid for his PhD in success. Right now, someone watching this is going through their own personal hell. Maybe it's you. Maybe you're drowning in debt or heartbroken or feeling like a total failure. Here's what I need you to understand. This isn't your ending. This is your plot twist. The moment when the hero gets knocked down, right before the epic comeback that makes the crowd go wild. So here's your challenge. When you hit that wall, when everything screams give up, that's your signal to dig deeper. Because the people who change their lives aren't special. They're just the ones who refuse to stay down. They're the ones who understood one crucial truth. The night is always darkest right before the dawn breaks through. Now, I want to hear from you. Drop a comment with "Stay strong" if you've ever been knocked down but came back stronger. Let's build some motivation right here in these comments. And if this message hit home, do me a favor, smash that like button and subscribe, because we're just getting started. Next week, we're breaking down exactly how to turn your lowest moments into your greatest advantage. You in? Remember, every champion was once a contender who refused to give up. Your dawn is coming. Will you be ready when it arrives? You know that moment when you're lying awake at 3 a.m., staring at the ceiling, convinced you're the only one failing this badly at life? Here's the shocking truth. Every single person who ever achieved anything great has been right where you are right now. The difference? They understood one simple rule. When you hit absolute rock bottom, you've actually hit a launching pad in disguise. Take Michael Jordan, arguably the greatest basketball player of all time. You know what happened right before his legendary career? He got cut from his high school basketball team. Imagine that. The future GOAT wasn't good enough for his high school team. His mother found him crying in his room. But here's what MJ did next that changed everything. He used that rejection as fuel. He practiced harder than anyone else. That failure became the foundation for 6 NBA championships and a legacy that lasts forever. Here's what most people get wrong about tough times. They think it's about surviving the storm. Wrong. It's about learning to dance in the rain. When Oprah was fired from her first TV job for being too emotionally invested in stories, she could have taken that as proof she didn't belong in media. Instead, she doubled down on what made her different. That emotional connection, and built a media empire because of it, not in spite of it. Right now, someone watching this is going through their version of hell. Maybe it's financial ruin. Maybe it's a broken relationship. Maybe it's a dream that keeps slipping away. I need you to hear this. That pain you're feeling, that's not the end of your story. It's the plot twist that makes your comeback legendary. The most beautiful sunrises always follow the darkest nights, but here's the catch. You've got to stay awake to see them. So here's my challenge to you. The next time life knocks you down, I want you to say thank you. Because that's the moment when you get to decide, will this be the end or will this be the beginning of something extraordinary? The people who change their lives aren't special. They're just the ones who refuse to let their lowest moments define them. Drop a right in the comments if you're ready to turn your struggles into strength. And if this message hit home, do me a favor, smash that like button and subscribe, because we're building a community of fighters here. Next week, we're diving into the exact mindset shifts that turn ordinary people into unstoppable forces. You in? Remember this, no storm lasts forever. The sun always rises. The question is, will you be there to see it when it does? You ever notice how the greatest comebacks always start with someone flat on their back? That moment when the crowd's walking out, the critics are laughing, and even you start to wonder, maybe they're right. But here's the secret they don't tell you. That exact moment when everything looks hopeless is when real magic happens. Because rock bottom, that's just the foundation champions build on. Think about Kobe Bryant. After missing the game-winning shot in Game 5 of the 1997 playoffs, he airballed 4 shots in overtime. The entire arena mocked him. Sports radio tore him apart. But you know what he did? He went straight to the gym that night, and the next morning before sunrise, and every single day after that. Those airballs became the fuel that forged the Black Mamba mentality, the same mentality that would later deliver 5 NBA championships. Here's the raw truth about tough times. They're not roadblocks. They're rite of passage. Every single person you admire has been exactly where you are right now. The difference? They understood that breakdowns always come before breakthroughs. When Walt Disney was fired from a newspaper for lacking imagination, he didn't quit, he doubled down on his creativity. That failure led directly to Mickey Mouse and the happiest place on earth. Right now, someone watching this is in their own personal tunnel with no light in sight. Maybe it's you. Maybe you're one rejection away from giving up on your dream, one setback away from throwing in the towel. I need you to hear this. That darkness you're feeling, that's not the end. It's the cocoon before your transformation. The most beautiful butterflies all go through the same struggle to escape their chrysalis. And that struggle is exactly what gives them the strength to fly. So here's what I want you to do. The next time life knocks you down, I want you to smile, because that's your signal. Your breakthrough is coming. The people who change the world aren't lucky. They're just the ones who kept going when everyone else quit. Your darkest hour is always followed by your greatest victory. but only if you stay in the game. Drop a butterfly in the comments if you're ready to transform your struggles into wings. And if this message hit home, do me a favor, smash that like button and subscribe, because we're just getting started. Next week, we're revealing the exact mindset that turns ordinary people into unstoppable forces of nature. You coming? Remember this: night is always darkest right before the dawn. But here's what they don't tell you. The people who become legends are the ones who learn to dance in the dark while they wait for the sun. You ever notice how the most powerful storms always make way for the clearest skies? That moment when the wind is howling and the rain is pounding so hard you can barely see your own hand in front of your face, that's exactly when you're closest to breakthrough. Because here's the truth no one tells you. Pressure doesn't crush diamonds, it creates them. Take Elon Musk in 2008. Tesla was failing. SpaceX had 3 failed launches. He was sleeping on the factory floor and running out of money. The world called him a joke. Then in the same week, SpaceX's 4th launch succeeded and Tesla secured funding. Today, he's revolutionizing space travel and electric vehicles. But here's what's fascinating. None of that happens without those crushing failures first. The darkest hour truly does come before dawn. This isn't just motivational fluff, it's physics. A bow only shoots an arrow forward after being pulled backward. A muscle only grows after being torn. Your greatest growth always comes from your greatest struggle. When Starbucks first opened, they sold 1,000 cups of coffee in 8 months. Howard Schultz was turned down by 217 of the 242 investors he pitched. Today, there's a Starbucks on nearly every corner because someone understood that rejection isn't the end, it's the required tuition for success. Right now, someone watching this is in their own personal 2008. Maybe it's you. Maybe the rejections are piling up, the bank account's running low, and that voice in your head keeps whispering, maybe you should quit. Here's what I need you to understand. That exact moment of doubt, that's your signal your comeback is loading. The most extraordinary success stories all have one thing in common. Their heroes kept going when logic said stop. So here's your challenge. When the night feels endless, I want you to remember this isn't your stopping point, it's your starting point. The world's most inspiring people aren't special. They're just the ones who refused to let their darkest moments define them. Your current struggle isn't evidence that you're failing, it's proof you're being prepared for something greater. Drop a diamond in the comments if you're currently under pressure but know it's shaping you into something priceless. Smash that like button if you believe your best days are ahead of you. And subscribe, because next week we're breaking down the exact mindset that turns ordinary people into unstoppable forces of nature. You ready for your transformation? Remember this: the mightiest oaks grow from the smallest acorns that refuse to stop reaching for the sun even when buried in darkness. You know that split second right before a rocket breaks through the atmosphere? When the vibrations are so intense the whole structure feels like it might shake apart? That's not a sign it's failing. That's the moment it's breaking through to something extraordinary. Your life works the same exact way. Here's what physics teaches us that most people miss. The moment before breakthrough always feels like breakdown. A seed has to completely come apart before it can grow. Caterpillars literally dissolve into goo before becoming butterflies. Your most painful struggles aren't signs you're off path. They're proof you're exactly where you need to be to transform. Right now, someone watching this is in their goo phase. Maybe it's you. Maybe your relationships are straining, your career's stalled, or your bank account's screaming for mercy. I need you to hear this. That discomfort, that's your metamorphosis in progress. When TikTok first launched, it was called Musical Lie and completely failing. They could have quit. Instead, they reinvented completely during their darkest days and now dominate social media. So here's your power move. When everything feels like it's falling apart, stand up and say good. Because breakdown always precedes breakthrough. The most successful people aren't lucky. They're just the ones who understood that rock bottom makes the best launch pad. Your current struggle isn't your full story. It's just preparing you for a comeback that'll make people's jaws drop. Launchpad. if you're ready to turn your struggles into your superpower. Smash that like button if you know your best chapters are still unwritten. And subscribe, because next week we're revealing how to spot breakthrough moments while you're still in what feels like breakdown. You coming? Remember this: the mightiest waves start as invisible currents deep below the surface. Your current struggle isn't your ending, it's your gathering force. Continue without heading and subheading. Ever watch a phoenix rise from the ashes? That breathtaking moment when flames give birth to something even more powerful. That's not just mythology, it's playing out in your life right now. The universe has a funny way of tearing down what's good to make room for what's extraordinary. Picture this: 1997, Apple was weeks from bankruptcy. Steve Jobs returned to a company in ruins. The same company he built, now bleeding money. Critics wrote their obituary. But in that crisis, they created the iMac, then the iPod, then the iPhone. That near-death experience forced the innovation that would make them the first trillion-dollar company. Sometimes you need to lose everything to gain something legendary. Here's the cosmic joke most people miss. When you're deep in what feels like destruction, you're actually in the universe's workshop. Kintsugi, the Japanese art of repairing broken pottery with gold, teaches us that breakage isn't the end, but the beginning of something more beautiful. Your cracks aren't flaws. They're future gold seams waiting to be revealed. Right now, someone watching this is holding broken pieces of their life. Maybe it's you. Maybe the job fell through, the relationship ended, or the dream got deferred. Hear this: you're not being punished, you're being prepared. When Airbnb launched during the 2008 recession, everyone said it was the worst time to start a company. Those terrible conditions became the perfect soil for their billion-dollar idea. So here's your rebellion. The next time life takes something from you, smile and whisper, "What are you making space for?" The greatest comebacks aren't about rebuilding what was lost. They're about creating what was always meant to be. Your current losses aren't the end. They're the universe clearing the stage for your greatest performance yet. Type gold seams if you're ready to turn your broken pieces into a masterpiece. Crush that like button if you know your best is yet to come. And subscribe, because next week we're decoding how to spot divine demolition when it's happening to you. You ready for your rebirth? Remember this: forests need fires to grow stronger. Your current burn isn't your end. It's nature's way of making room for what's next. You ever notice how the most breathtaking sunrises always follow the darkest nights? That moment when the sky is so black you can't imagine light existing, then suddenly color explodes across the horizon in ways that make your breath catch. That's not coincidence. That's the universe showing you how transformation works. Take James Dyson. 5,126 failed prototypes over 15 years. 5,126 nights of going to bed defeated. Most would have quit at 100, at 500, at 1,000. But prototype 5,127. That became the vacuum that revolutionized an industry and made him a billionaire. Those weren't failures. They were the exact number of steps required to change everything. Here's the alchemy of struggle most miss. Pressure transforms coal into diamonds, sand into pearls, and you, yes you, into the version of yourself capable of handling the dreams you're chasing. When Twitter launched, it was a failing podcast platform called Audio. Total flop. Then Apple changed iTunes and destroyed their business, forcing them to pivot to what would become a world-changing platform. Sometimes the universe has to burn down your tree so you can see the forest. Right now, someone watching this is sitting in what feels like the ruins of their life. Maybe it's you. Maybe the plans crumbled, the people walked away, or the dream looks impossible. I need you to hear this. You're not buried, you're planted. The most magnificent redwoods grow from tiny seeds that first had to be completely covered in darkness. Your current situation isn't your conclusion, it's your cultivation period. So here's your power move. When the world says, give up, lean in and whisper, I'm just getting started. The people who change the game aren't lucky. They're just the ones who understood that breakdowns are preludes to breakthroughs. Your struggles aren't blocking your success. They're building the exact muscles you'll need to handle it. Type Reedwood if you're growing in places no one can see yet. Smash that like button if you know your roots are spreading even when nothing's showing above ground. And subscribe, because next week we're revealing how to spot growth when all you see is dirt. You ready to rise? Remember this, the mightiest waves start as silent currents deep beneath the surface. What looks like stillness is actually gathering force. Your time is coming. Create conclusion 500 words without heading and subheading. Life has a way of testing us, pushing us to our limits until we feel like we're standing at the edge of an abyss with no way out. But here's the truth so many miss. That edge isn't the end of the road. It's the launching pad for something greater. Every hero's journey includes a moment when all seems lost, when the odds are stacked impossibly high, when the world seems to conspire against them. But it's in those moments when the night is darkest that the seeds of a comeback are sown. The most inspiring stories aren't about people who never fell. They're about those who fell, rose, and came back stronger than ever. Your struggles aren't proof that you're failing. They're proof that you're being prepared. The universe doesn't waste pain. It repurposes it into power. Think about the greatest transformations in nature. The caterpillar dissolving into goo before emerging as a butterfly. The forest fire that clears the way for new growth. The diamond formed under crushing pressure. Your life follows the same rules. The moments that feel like endings are often the raw materials for new beginnings. When you're in the thick of it, when doubt whispers that you should quit, that's when you're closest to a breakthrough. The only difference between those who make it and those who don't is the decision to keep going. Every no, every setback, every moment of despair is just another step in the process, another layer of strength being added to your foundation. The world's most extraordinary people didn't avoid failure. They outlasted it. They understood that success isn't about avoiding the storm, but learning to dance in the rain. When you look back on your life years from now, you won't remember the struggles with the same pain. You'll see them as the turning points that shaped you. The job you lost, it led you to something better. The heartbreak you endured, it taught you what real love requires. The dream that fell apart, it made room for one that fit you even more perfectly. Hindsight will show you that what felt like destruction was actually reconstruction. The universe breaking you down to rebuild you strong. So if you're in that dark place right now, don't despair. Don't quit. The night is always darkest right before the dawn, and your dawn is coming. The pain you're feeling isn't permanent. It's preparing you. The obstacles in your way aren't roadblocks. They're tests of your commitment. And when you look back on this moment from the other side, you'll realize something powerful. You didn't just survive the storm. You became the kind of person who can thrive in any weather. Your story isn't over. In fact, the best chapters are just being written. So keep going, keep pushing, keep believing, because the world needs people who've been through the fire and came out unshaken, people who know what it means to rise. And when your moment comes, when the light finally breaks through, you'll understand why every struggle was necessary. The dawn is coming. Will you be ready when it arrives?